Hello friends, today we'll discuss MCQs on casting process part 3 in which I will cover the topics casting methods like centrifugal casting, shell molding, investment casting and a slush casting. Then the casting defects. Along with that, I'll cover the hot chamber and cold chamber die casting and finally the questions on the cupola furnace. So let's begin with the first MCQ. Cast iron pipes and cylindrical barrels are produced in. So in this case, the barrel or I can say the cast iron pipes and the cylindrical barrels are produced in a true centrifugal casting. So molten metal is poured into a rotating mold to produce a tabular parts which I have shown in the on your screen. So that's why our answer is A, to centrifugal casting. Next question, no core is needed to form hole in. So here again in the centrifugal casting, no core has been used. So in this process again, the mold is rotated rapidly about its central axis as the metal is poured in it. Since the metal is always pushed outwards because of the centrifugal force. So no core is needed for making a concentric holes, and that's why our answer is D, centrifugal casting. Next, investment casting is used for. So here I shown that uh, investment casting is used for making a complex shape, such as we can see the pipe fitting equipments. Then this is the jewelry items. Here I also shown the example of a surgical instruments. So the such type of shape always required a tight tolerance, also the thinner walls and better surface finish than the sand molding or a sand casting. And that's why in this case our answer is B, investment casting is used for shape which are very complex and integrate and can't be cast by any other method. Next question. In die casting process, metal is poured into die cavity, okay? And then the metal is just forced into the mold under a high pressure with the help of this ram. You can see in this diagram, okay? So this ram is actually connected to the piston, and that's why we can apply a high pressure over it. Okay. And that's why in this case our answer is metal is forced into a mold under a high pressure. Next question, which of the following defect is not an example of type pouring material defects? I have shown that suppose this is the misran, okay, which will be the misran or the this is a cold shut and the slag incursion are the pouring metal defects. Okay, so in this case misran is caused when the metal is unable to fill the mold cavity completely. Even if you see the cold shut is caused when two metal stream while meeting in the mold cavity do not fuse together properly. And third, if you see the slag inclusion is caused when the molten metal containing a slag particle in the poured into the mold cavities. Okay, it means that ultimately our answer is hot tear because hot tear is not an defect. Okay, pouring material defects, and that's why our answer is hot tear. Next question, why do casting process generally produce minimal waste. You know very well, in the any casting process, the whatever the excess metals are there, we are melting it again and again, means it is reuse, right? And that's why we can say that the in casting process there will be always a minimal waste. And you can see for that the answer is B, because excess metal can be melted down and we can use again. So next question is, defect caused by chilling of the casting are known as. So here actually the answer is the hotspot. So hotspots are the thick section. Okay, those cool slower than the other section, causing a abnormal shrinkage. So due to which void cracks and porosity are created at this hotspot. And that's why our answer is A, hot spot. Next is, which defect is caused due to conversion of moisture to steam because of the heat of a molten metal? So here the blowholes is the answer, and blowholes are trap the gases which can form as a result of gases from molten metals and the stream stand. So blowholes can cause due to the conversion of moisture to the stream because of the heat of the molten metal. And that's why our answer is A, blowholes. Next question. During melting process, flux is added to react with the impurities to form. So here, if we see that basically the slag is an answer and flux is a substance which can be either acidic oxide or a basic oxide. So it combines with a certain impurities in order to form a substance called slag. And this can be easily removed. If slag is not completely removed, then it may cause the slag incursions. So that's why our answer is B, slag. Next question. Misrin is a casting defect which occurs due to, so basically it is due to the, you can see in this case I shown the Misrin casting, and if in this diagram showing the insufficient fluidity. It means that Misrin is a casting defect which occur due to the insufficient fluidity of the molten metal. Next question. Hot tear refers to, actually, so hot tear occurs due to the excessive ramming of a mold or faulty casting design, which refers to the casting defects. Means I can say that hot tear refers to the casting defects. Okay, so that's why our answer is A, which I shown in the diagram. These are all the hot tears, casting defects. You can see in both the diagrams. Next question. Which casting process has no size and shape limits? So in this case, in sand casting, we can produce the simple shape with a large size is possible. And that's why our answer is sand casting. Which of the following is not a casting defect? So here, if you see, I shown the diagram, this is a blowholes, okay? Means it is a casting defect actually. This is a shrinkage defect which occurs in the casting. Also, you can see the hot tear in the casting defect. But here, I shown the hot cracks. So hot crack is not a casting defects. And that's why our answer is D. Next question. blowholes in castings are caused by. Now, I've shown one diagrams also. Here, if there is a excessive moisture or the excessive fine grains, if the sand is too fine, then the permeability will be low. It means that all the options which are occurring or observed in the screen, that excessive moisture, low permeability, excessive fine grains, all are the causes due to which the blowholes occur. So that's why our answer is D, all of the above. Next question. In hot chamber method of die casting, the melting pot is a integral with the die casting machine, in which it is connected with the help of a goose neck, and that's why we can, our answer is A. So even you can see here, this is a melting pot which is integral with the this die casting machine with the help of goose neck, and that's why our answer is A. Next question. Which of the following casting method utilizes the wax? So here I'll show you that some molding, shell molding, in which we are not using the wax pattern, we are using a metal pattern. In the plaster molding, we are using the ceramics. And in the sludge casting also, we can use the metal casting or metal patterns. So ultimately, the remaining, which is the investment casting. So in the investment casting, the patterns which we are utilizing here is a wax pattern. And that's why our answer is D, investment casting. Next question. The hot chamber die casting method is used to cast. Now, in the hot chamber die casting, it is limited to use with a low melting point metals, and that aluminum, magnesium, brass cannot be melted because it picks up some of the iron which while in the molten pole, which is the integral part of the machine. So therefore, hot chamber machines are primarily used with a zinc, tin, and a lead-based alloy. And that's why our answer in this case is the D. Next question. In cold chamber method of die casting, molten metal is poured in a cold chamber by a ladle before each stroke. That is, metal is melt outside the chamber. So it is very clear that the melting pot is separate from the die casting machine. So that's why you can see I shown the molten metals, we are melting separately in the other furnace, and then we are pouring that molten metal by using the ladle in this chamber. And that's why our answer in this case is the melting pot is separate from the die casting machine. Next, in cold chamber method of die casting, high melting point metals can be cast because metal is heated separately in the furnace, and then a precise amount of molten metal is transferred to the cold chamber machine. Okay, and that's why in this case our answer is high melting point metal can be cast. The only reason is that we are melting it separately in the furnace. Next question. Crucible furnace is used for melting of a non-ferrous metal. The crucible holds the charged material, and subsequently the choice of refractory material depends on the type of charge, that is the acidic, basic, or a neutral one. So that's why in this case our answer is non-ferrous metal. Next question, which of the following is true for die used in die casting process? It is very clear that if you see in this diagram, the one die is a stationary while other is the movable die. So you can see in the option given, the one part of the die is stationary and other is movable, and that's why this is a true statement. Okay, so our answer is A. You can see from the diagram also. Next question, die casting, which of the following keeps the two holes of the die in the proper alignments? So you can see these are the two holes. One is fixed die and another one is the movable. Here also I shown the, now this actually our answer is the dual pin. So dual pins are used to keep two holes in accurate alignments, and they can also use as a location guide for adjacent parts, and to keep the two section of the die, that is a fixed and the movable, in the alignments only through this dual pin. And that's why in this case our answer is dual pins. Next question, to overcome the problems like blowholes in casting, we use, now many times the blowholes may occur, and to avoid that blowholes we can go for the vacuum die casting machine. The vacuum evacuation of the die casting reduces the gas interrupt during the metal injection and decreases the porosity in the casting, which overcome the problem of the blowholes. So here I shown the vacuum casting machine. Okay, so only the vacuum die casting machine which will overcome the problem like a blowholes in the casting. Next question, the productivity of a casting process is comparatively, see, naturally the answer is very simple here, comparatively lower than the productivity of other automatic process like rolling. So because a significant problem which is faced by the foundry industry is of poor product quality and low productivity due to the large number of process parameter combined with the lower penetration of automation. Okay, so that's why the productivity of the casting process is comparatively lower than the productivity of other automatic process like rolling. Next question, in sludge casting, so here in the, actually it's very simple answer here also. In sludge casting no core is used. So sludge casting is a special type of casting in which hollow casting are produced without the use of core. The mold is filled with the molten metal, and after some time it is turned over the drain of most of the belt. This leaves behind in the mold a hollow thin wall casting with a good outer surface but very rough on the inner surface. And that's why in this case in sludge casting no core is used even if you want to make any hollow shapes. Use of runner, risers and cores are eliminated. So even here also we know very well in the centrifuge casting we never use the runner, riser and cores. If you see in the first diagram, it consists of a flask, revolving table and a reservoir for the feeding. okay, for the feeding of the molten metal. In second case, you can see that the small mold, this one is connected to the central sprue, okay, which is inside that flask. And in the third, we are showing that we are pouring the molten metal inside that flask. And then in the fourth, I shown that the molten metal will flow to all the mold under the centrifugal force from the central sprue. So we can get the different products in one mold, okay, and even the irregular or symmetrical parts can also be molded in the centrifuge casting. And that's why in this case our answer is one, centrifuge casting. Next question, the cupola is used to manufacture. So generally, cupola is used for manufacturing the cast iron. Cupola furnace is a melting device which is used to melt the cast iron. It is mainly used to convert the pig iron into the cast iron. This is the diagram which I have shown of the cupola furnace. Next, which instrument is attached at the top of the cupola? Even we see in this diagram also I have shown this is the topmost portion. Here also I'm trying to show you some other diagram of the cupola furnace. And at the top we can see the spark arrestor. So spark arrestor is positioned at the top of cupola furnace that trap the burning particles and only allow the gases to release to the environment, which will not affect. And that's why our answer is D, spark arrestor. Next question is the fuel used in a blast furnace is. So in the basically, if it's as shown in the diagram also, here we can use the coke as a fuel, okay, in the blast furnace. Here also this is the how this is the coke, okay. Now we know that coke is the universal fuel used in the blast furnace. So it is used to reduce iron oxide to produce iron. So it contains carbon which will react with the blast air to produce the carbon monoxides. And that's why in the fuel is used in the blast furnace is the coke. Next question. Flux used in cupola while melting cast iron is. I shown in the diagram, I'm just trying to highlight the flux. So actually, where our answer is the limestone here, the which is used to remove the impurities from the blast furnace when making the iron. The impurities are mostly a silicon oxide, which is also called as a sand. The calcium carbonate in the limestone react with the silicon dioxide to form a calcium silicate, which is also known as slag. And that's why I can say that flux is in the cupola while melting the cast iron, limestone is added. You can see here. Okay. Next, this is the last question. What is the purpose of auxiliary tuyeres in cupola furnace? This is the how I'm showing the tuyeres. Okay, this is the cupola furnace. Okay, now in this case, the auxiliary tuyeres are basically used for providing to increase the melting efficiency. Okay, they are fitted in one or a number of rows. Even we can see from this diagram also. So ultimately, I can say that the the purpose of the tuyere is to raise the melting efficiency, and that's why tuyere is always needed in the cupola furnace. So thank you, friends.